Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Today is Thursday, the 8th of May. We have a transition that occurred today. We went from Leo to Virgo for our moon sign, Leo to Virgo, from a fire sign to an earth sign. Our sun sign is still the same, Taurus, which is an earth sign. So at this moment, we are dealing with double earth. Okay? Earth is the things that are formed. Earth is the practical way we use energy. And so with this double earth, we have maybe a lot of accomplishment, a lot of things around us that we build today when you're dealing with earthly matters. Okay, but with earthly matters, we have to always remember that Earth isn't everything. Earth is just the final place in this realm where that energy manifests itself. Fire, water, air, and then Earth. So as we put that together, we do have the Earth, we do have the form, but we always want to remember the form came from something else. Okay, and then we do have a square that we're dealing with. That is an effect. It is a square between Virgo and Mercury. Virgo, the hermit, teacher, holding the lantern high, a healer, and that comes in a square with Mercury in the way in which we communicate. So as we go throughout the course of this day, we'll be feeling how that unfolds, that lesson that's being learned with our communication and our ability to shine or share the light that we have to shine or share. Okay, if we look at our numerology for today, today is the number 2. Here's how we came up with that number: 5 plus 8, 2014. We got 5 plus 8 plus a 7, that equals 20. 2 plus 0 equals 2. So today we are a 2. We all know about the 2s, right? The different qualities about them. Here we see that 2 is the tarot card of the High Priestess. So with 2s, remember, doesn't matter if it's a tarot card, doesn't matter if it's just the number 2, or if it's in the Mayan Oracle, the second tone, all means the same thing. You take one energy, one single energy, and you split it apart into 2. And now these 2 are opposite poles. They have to find their balance with each other, and that is the challenge that comes with finding that balance. We all know when we are out in life how we have to find balance with ourselves. That is what's going on. We've got the 2. We have the idea implied in there, the male and feminine energies, or masculine and feminine, which are together here, balancing themselves out because the 1 has split itself off. So there's a lot of things implied with the idea of the 2. If we look over here on our chart, we could see that the path of 2 is right here in the middle. It's this secret chamber. And we get to by going through the door of the Empress, Hebrew letter Daleth, meaning door. So we go through the door of our imagination and we enter the inner temple. That's where we are right now. And the inner temple, as we can see, goes straight from the crown right down to the heart. And it crosses through imagination and our strength. The other symbols today, or the other ones to be aware of, is Virgo. Right here, the sign that we're dealing with today. So it's going from mercy to beauty, from this humility all the way back to the heart. And then we also have the Hierophant right here, which is wisdom and mercy. So we have, nice, good path back this way. Learning to take what we learn. Because remember, the Hierophant is all about learning to hook together the spiritual with the physical. And as we learn to hook that together and we learn all of the wonderful things about this cosmos and this universe, we become humbled by it, merciful. But we don't want to become so merciful. We want to be able to take that idea, these energies, this wisdom we learn, and shine that light high and go back to the heart where we become a beacon of that light, of that information or wisdom, which is shared from a place of real appreciation. Okay? That's how they all tie together today. And our current moon phase, 84% of the way full, 64% of the way full, making its way back up to a full moon, which will be there next week. If we look up at the sky tonight, it says sometimes late this evening, roughly about 10 p.m., depending on where you live, bright Capella will be declining in the northwest, will be exactly as high as bright Vega climbing in the northeast. How accurately can you time their altitude balance? Each day will come 4 minutes earlier. So here we have an idea again of balance. Look, we got two stars, Vega and Capella. Okay, and it says that if we look at them, we could see their balancing point, as one is in one area and one is in the next, northwest and northeast. Okay, on the Mayan Oracle, today we're at a 8-tone day. 8 tones are all about integrity, galactic tone of integrity. Integrity means staying in your groove, in your path, who you are, the integrity of who and what you're about. Today is about the dog, so the integrity of our heart, the integrity of love and loyalty guided by timelessness. Purification is our like-minded energy. Enlightenment is our challenge, and our hidden power is the monkey, which is magic. And we could see we're still in the wave spell of the night, and we've made our way around here to a good position, at the 8th position in the dream wave spell of the night, dealing with abundance, dreams, intuition. The phrase for today is I harmonize in order to love, modeling loyalty. I seal the process of heart with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of timelessness. Okay, moving along. Solar wind 356.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is unsettled at 4 at the moment. Big coronal hole at the bottom, not facing us at this moment. However, it does say that depending on what goes on, we could get some wind from this coronal hole. M-class flare possibility hangs at 25%. M-class, X-class is 1. And geomagnetic storm activity is pretty low as well. In the high latitudes, it gets as high as 30%, and that is about it. Okay, and then of course, one notice here about meteor shower. So May 24th can be a big day for meteor astronomy. So that's something to look forward to. We have the Earth is expected to pass through clouded debris from comet Linear, producing a never before meteor shower. Alright, so we've got something to look forward to there. And over on the Jewish calendar, today is a 8 liar right here. And that is it to get us started for today. UFO news is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much for that introduction. First story. UFO or military drone destroys Taliban camp, Afghanistan. The Marines filmed this unusual craft destroying a Taliban camp. Many websites are labeling this object a UFO when in fact it is mostly like a military drone in the shape of a triangle that has the ability to hover. It could be the infamous TR-3B, but there is no hard evidence that this even exists. There is also a distinct possibility that UFO is CGI inserted in the real video as a hoax. Okay, it's a 1 minute and 34-second video. And the question is this real? Is this not? Did this UFO just blow up this village? It's a good question. This is the TR-3B right here. This is what it's supposed to look like. So is it possible that that is what that is? Let's go back here again, look at it. Is that the TR-3B? Okay. Very interesting indeed. Interesting video. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Is it real or is this CGI? Now we move over from there to Argentina, Buenos Aires on the 26th of April. Witness says, this is translated from Spanish, it says, reappear mysterious orbitaciones, double points lenticular, okay, abnormal displacement is checked and verified on the satellites ready, but there is no overlap. The phenomena is orbital and for 3 years has become capriciously appellant, celeste in a region covering the capital of Argentina. Alright, let's jump over to look at the video here, see what we have. It's 1 minute and 7 seconds in length. And there's no video there. Alright, so whatever it was disappeared. It happens from time to time. Videos are there and then they disappear. Sometimes rather quickly because it was there when the show began, when I was selecting the videos. Okay, over Lankaran, Azerbaijan. This is footage of a bright glowing UFO recorded in the night sky above Lankaran, Azerbaijan on the night of April 7th with an interval of 5 minutes on the same path from south to west to north. I need help understanding the meaning of the appearance of the mystery objects in the sky. It's a 52-second video up in Lankaran, Azerbaijan. I don't know if I said that right. Try to say that 5 times fast, huh? Lankaran, Azerbaijan. Kind of just rolls off the tongue. Alright, let's move away from here to the next sighting. This was sent in to us from one of our friends, First Contact Radio. This is a video, goes back apparently to 2011 is what people are saying. And we see these, something going on here at this military base. And this happened for quite some period of time. Now the question is, what is this? Is this a UFO zapping from the sky, or is this something coming from underneath? Okay, and as you can see, it says UFO silently zap U.S. military base. So is there something going on? Is there a battle taking place between our military and the UFOs that are out in the sky? Okay. And so I guess what we can look at this is to wonder who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. Obviously the military is going to say that these are the bad guys, but depending on what the military is doing, perhaps these are the good guys. Remember, in the stories that we hear about the return, the promise is that the wicked and the ungodly, the godless ones, are going to be removed. Not the elect, not the ones who are true to God, not those who are believers, but the wicked and ungodly. So let's all keep in mind that as we consider what's going on with all this extraterrestrial stuff, that perhaps they are doing things to help us, because we all know that our military and our governments are completely out of control, power hungry, and we need just to be aware of that and not get caught up in their lies when they tell us that extraterrestrials are the bad guys. Not if you're one of the good guys. Not if you're one of the good and the godly. Okay, here we have up by the sun. This was a long one, just like we saw up at Mars in the ISS. Same one, I don't know, but it certainly looks the same type. This UFO was caught by Muzenhazen74 of YouTube. He watches the Soho images daily, almost daily, posting 5 to 7 videos per week. I really am fascinated with this particular UFO in the above screenshot. It was also seen by the Mars Curiosity rover last week on April 28th and was seen in the space station live cam on May 5th. In this shot, you can see this is not a comet or meteor, has no tail. Both ends of the object are completely even and smooth. You can see it's the 44th second into video. Please subscribe or thumbs up on Muyenhazen for his awesome daily work. Alright, so we've seen lots of his work, and he has some great captures. So, what do you think this is? I know there are those who say, oh, these are just normal things that come off of the sun. I don't necessarily think that is the case. I think there is something more than meets the eye, because we are seeing these things more regular. Alright, let's move from here on to Santiago, Argentina. It says that Santiago, let's see, Luis Gomez was at home that afternoon when he suddenly looked up, looking at the sky, and saw a black circle in the air as if it were the outline of a ship, which moved slowly for 2 minutes before disappearing. Without hesitation, he went inside to his house to find his video camera and managed to record footage of the alleged UFO. It is clear that it is a flying saucer, although I zoomed in too much the camera. It's clearly a UFO. Recorded its sound, and I lost it to the southeast. I enjoyed it. It was a very pretty picture. Luis Gomez. Okay, it's a good sighting right there. Next, we go up to Mars. Finding some interesting things on Mars, aren't they? Well, here you see something that looks a bit more manufactured than you just see normally in nature. Okay. And then this one here even has a little square thing in it. Again, a bit more manufactured than you normally see out there. It says, I found these two structures on Mars in the Spirit rover photos. They were both in SOL 2087. The first one looks like it was once an opening to some kind of vent having two 90-degree angles. The second one is a curved structure with a square cut out of it. Both anomalies have been seen by NASA scientists, but I'm sure they didn't plan the public being so investigative on the subject. Here we have a 6-minute 30-second video of Scott. Here's Scott right there talking about what's going on. And you can see some good sightings as always. Okay, so it's a good video. It tells you how to find out all this information, exactly what Scott is doing to get to this. Alright, very good. So check that out. Check out the video. Let's move on next to the Vatican. Vatican official declares extraterrestrial contact is real. Monsignor Corrado Balducci, a theologian, member of the Vatican Cura, and an insider close to the Pope, has gone on Italian national television 5 times, including recent months, to proclaim that extraterrestrial contact is a real phenomenon. Balducci provided an analysis of extraterrestrials that he feels is consistent with the Catholic Church's understanding of theology. Monsignor Balducci emphasizes that extraterrestrial encounters are not demonic. They are not due to psychological impairment. They are not a case of entity attachment, but these encounters deserve to be studied carefully. Since Monsignor Balducci is a demonology expert and consultant to the Vatican, And since the Catholic Church has historically demonized many new phenomena that were poorly understood, his stating that the Church does not censure these encounters is at the more remarkable. Balducci revealed to a visiting American professional that the Vatican is closely following the phenomena quietly. My informant officially surmised that the Vatican is receiving much information about extraterrestrials and their contacts with humans from its nunciators, embassies in various countries, but subsequent information indicated that the Monsignor has gotten his cases from other sources. Monsignor Balducci is a member of a group which acts as consultants to the Vatican on various matters concerning humans in possible contact with supernatural beings. As such, the matter of extraterrestrial encounters would fall within their purview, and possibly as well as the spiritual significance of the emerging generalization of extraterrestrial contact. Parallel information from the National Security Council scientist Dr. Michael Wolff, a member of NSC's SSG subcommittee for managing the UFO phenomena, as well as from noted author and Vatican expert Father Malachi Martin, suggests that the Vatican is concerned that it will have a major doctrinal updating situation on hands when extraterrestrial contact becomes authoritatively announced by world government over the next several years. Okay. And one last piece here. This is Captain Kirk, William Shatner. And got a video for you here. I'm going to leave this for you to watch. It's 12 minutes and 31 seconds. It's from an episode of Spacing Out. It says William Shatner appeared on Larry King Now to discuss his upcoming novel about UFOs and alien abduction. That and other UFO stories on this episode of Spacing Out. So check it out. 12 minutes in length. That is our UFO news for today. Stay tuned. We're going to continue on today with the study of the Kryballion. I'll be back momentarily as we jump into that. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continue on. So, over the weeks, I have been bringing information from the Kryballion, from the life and teachings of the Masters of the Far East, and over time, other materials dealing with the mind. It's important that we understand how the mind works, because the mind is very powerful. And those who understand how the mind works, well, sometimes they use it against others. And we know this to be true because we can see it taking place down here on Earth quite frequently. Politicians, bankers, leaders, those who are in the media, those and many of those who are in positions of authority, we see them abusing this power, working against the people. So it's very important that we learn how to use our own minds. That's why I bring this information to you, so that you understand that you are in charge of your mind, not anybody else. It's between you and God, but between you and the great creator of this universe. And as we become more adept at going inside to understand all of this, the more we understand the truths of the world. Unfortunately, there are many in the world who do not understand these truths, many who are unwilling to go inside themselves to see what's going on. So they just flip on the television and they go to the mainstream networks and they expect that they're going to hear Bill O'Reilly or Rachel Maddow or Anderson Cooper telling them the truth. And they go along their days believing that they were just told the truth. But that's not the case. We know it's not the case. It hasn't been the case for a while. The media has let the American people down. Instead of being a branch of government, or excuse me, instead of being an agency that works with the people, they're working against the people. Now, I don't know if those in the mainstream media think that they are immune from any of the problems that they are reporting, if they think that they're above the law. But as we're starting to see in some cases, that's not necessarily true. We could see what happened with Lois Lerner. We'll see how far that goes, because having Holder now in a position where he's going to make the next decision, well, we know he's not necessarily the model of integrity, so we'll see how it goes. The point being, things change. People realize that lies are going on, and more people are standing up against this. It'd be nice if the media would do this on a regular basis. Just imagine where we would be as a country. Just imagine where we would be with our position in the world if the media around us was more honest. All of this preamble brings us to this article here. We Are Change is an organization that is dedicated to bringing media to you that is honest, truthful, hard-hitting. You've seen many interviews, many pieces that have gone on by Luke Radowski, who is from We Are Change over here, who has gone out and who has created and interviewed. It says We Are Change is a nonpartisan, independent media organization comprised of individuals and groups working to expose corruption worldwide. Founded by Luke Radowski, We Are Change is comprised of independent journalists, concerned citizens, activists, and anyone who wants to shape the direction our world is going in. We seek to expose the lies of governments and the corporate elite who are constantly trashing our humanity. By asking the hard questions the mainstream media refuses to ask, we shine a little more light on truth. Furthermore, we seek to connect, educate, and motivate those who are interested in alerting the public to the pertinent issues that are affecting our lives each and every day. Our goal is to create a community of truth seekers and peacemakers who share a commitment to nonviolent action. We Are Change is not so much an individual or group, but an idea that we the people are the change we wish to see in this world. Together, as residents of this planet, we can push back against those who wish to dominate our lives and to begin to restore liberty to all. Now, I read this to you here, but the crux of what I want to show you is this. Launching Change Media University. Here you have a video. You can watch this video on your own. It's 3 minutes 26 seconds. Let me just give you a little brief. It says the mainstream has failed us time and time again. Their appalling lack of integrity, tenacity, and spine continues on a daily basis, insulting anyone paying attention. We Are Change is creating a platform where aspiring journalists can achieve success and develop their careers without jumping through degrading corporate hoops. 11 years ago, with a cheap camera borrowed from a friend, I dedicated my life to confronting those who repeatedly escaped justice. No longer would the perpetrators of hate and violence continue to walk among us without repercussions. We have successfully exposed the hypocrisies of Henry Kissinger, Ben Bernanke, Joe Biden, Mitt Romney, Jacob Rothschild, Mayor Bloomberg, Larry Silversing, and the Rockefeller family. We have reached millions of people operating on a shoestring budget while affecting laws, vindicating people who are falsely charged, creating national debates and awareness on issues that would never have seen the light of day. Our mission is to create a new generation of journalists unafraid of institutionalized authority, unafraid to challenge the status quo and preconceived notions. Let's promote honesty, open discussion, transparency, compassion, and critical thinking. We Are Change is producing a world of dedicated journalists instead of talking heads parroting press releases. We want to inspire investigative reporters to spread across every city digging for answers while poking holes in the official version of events. We are offering a crash course in investigative reporting with online classes as well as a physical classroom located in New York City. Okay, so it's a lot more to here to read. Bottom line, there's also links for you to go check out. The bottom line is people are standing up. We Are Change is an organization that's doing a great job out there, and I bring this to you because a lot of times we have questions that we want to know. How can we do more? What can we do? Now, as you've listened to this channel, some of you may wonder, well, how does this fit in with everything I'm doing of the spiritual subjects? Well, it fits right in. You see, everybody has their purpose of what they're doing, right? You've got plenty of media outlets telling you the lies, the corruptions, all of these things that are going on. What I'm doing is providing you a solution, that the solution goes beyond the physical, which is why we're exploring all these spiritual aspects. But periodically you hear me coming back to the physical stories because we are here on this earth and we are dealing with earthly matters, and we do need to be aware of the changes we can make. However, we don't want to get daunted with all of the negativity on a daily basis, which is why I'm not telling you on a daily basis the politicians that lied that day, because what's the point? However, as we go through life and we start to be more honest with ourselves and we start to be more honest with each other, the way in which we interact is going to be different. The way in which we interact with ourselves will be different. If we go in and we make the change on a spiritual level, guess what? That is going to trickle down and affect what goes on in the physical world, and therefore the things in the physical world are going to be inspired by someplace else, by something spiritual. If we were living in a world where we had media professionals that were coming from this place, politicians, bankers, lawyers, doctors, all walks of life, police officers, coming from this place where they were allowing spirit to be that guiding force, imagine where we'd be. So all of these things do tie in together, whether you think so or not. They all do tie in together. It's important that people find the truth and continue to find the truths out there so our minds are not perverted with lies, because that would be a shame if too many people bought the lies and we bought into it so much that we lost sight of who we were and what we're about. Okay, so that's how it all ties in. We want to be able to strengthen our minds while also be aware of who's doing the lying out there so we can avoid them or we can counteract what they're doing. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's not a big complicated process. All right, let's turn our attention now over to our subject at hand. For the moment, this is the Kryballion. We're almost to the end of it. We've gone over a quick review. The 7 principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. The mental aspect, mentalism, we dealt with several chapters. Mental transmutation, the all, the mental universe, the divine paradox, and the all and the all brought us to the understanding of how great this mind is, how big, how much it encompasses. It encompasses everything, because the all exists within the all, and the all is outside and inside of the all. All there is the all, and the all has many different planes, many different levels and dimensions to it. It's all part of the mentalism of the universe. That's why it is so important to be aware of what is going on mentally, because you can see right off the bat how much mental power is in the universe. So if you can direct that mental power, well, then you really have a great power at your hands. And if we have media outlets and those who are directing the mental energy and those who are receiving this aren't questioning where it's coming from, you can understand the problems there. So the mind is very powerful. So we've dealt with the mind, and then from the mind we've moved into the next place, planes of correspondence. It says that with all of these dimensions, part of the mentalism, all of these dimensions and aspects to the all, everything corresponds with each other. All these planes correspond from the smallest to the largest. And all of these energies that make up all of these planes of correspondence that are part of the dimensions of the all, they all vibrate. And all energy has polarities, which means you have 2 ends of the same energy. So hot and cold are really the same energetic, just different ends of the same pole, moving from one end to the next. But it's the same energy. All of this energy has a rhythm to it. And as we understand the back and forth rhythm of the universe, we understand how we can work with it and then step away from it when it's not going with us. How we can balance ourselves within and around it. Causation taught us the idea that karma, or the law of cause and effect, is ever in play. And what we do has an effect. Things that happen to us in our lives today are an effect of something else that went on, a cause. Something caused something to be affected, and that process has been going on and on and on. We live in a world that has been affected by various causes over the thousands and thousands and thousands of years that it has been here. And lastly, gender, that all energy is both masculine and feminine, not from the place that we understand it as a man and a woman, but masculine and feminine as poles of energy. And now today we're going to deal with this mental gender. It's the chapter we're at. Students of psychology who have followed the modern trend of thought along the lines of mental phenomena are struck by the persistence of the dual mind idea, which has manifested itself so strongly during the past 10 or 15 years, and which has given rise to a number of plausible theories regarding the nature and the constitution of these two minds. The late Thomas J. Hudson attained great popularity in 1893 by advancing his well-known theory of the objective and subjective minds, which he held existed in every individual. Other writers have attracted almost equal attention by the theories regarding the conscious and the subconscious minds, the voluntary and the involuntary minds, the active and the passive minds, etc., etc. The theories of the various writers differ from each other, but there remains the underlying principle of the duality of the mind. The student of Hermetic philosophy is tempted to smile when he reads and hears of these many new theories regarding the duality of the mind, each school adhering tenaciously to its own pet theories, and each claiming to have discovered the truth. The student turns back the pages of occult history, and away back in the dim beginnings of occult teachings, he finds references to the ancient Hermetic doctrine of the principle of gender on the mental plane, the manifestation of mental gender. And examining further, he finds that the ancient philosophy took cognizance of the phenomena of the dual mind and accounted for it by the theory of mental gender. This idea of mental gender may be explained in a few words to students who are familiar with the modern theories just alluded to. The masculine principle of mind corresponds to the so-called objective mind, conscious mind, voluntary mind, active mind, etc. Of course, the Hermetic teachings do not agree with the many modern theories regarding this nature, the two phases of the mind, nor does it admit to the facts claimed for the two respective aspects, some of the said theories and claims being very far-fetched and incapable of standing the test of experiment and demonstration. We point to the phases of the agreement merely for the purpose of helping the student to assimilate his previously acquired knowledge with the teachings of the Hermetic philosophy. Students of Hudson will notice that the statement at the beginning of his second chapter of the Law of Psychic Phenomena, that the mystic jargon of the Hermetic philosophers discloses the same general idea. For example, the duality of the mind. If Dr. Hudson had taken the time and the trouble to decipher a little of the mystic jargon of the Hermetic philosophy, he might have received much light upon the subject of the dual mind, but then perhaps his most interesting work might not have been written. Let us consider the Hermetic teachings regarding the mental gender. The Hermetic teachers impart their instruction regarding the subject by bidding their students to examine the report of their consciousness regarding their self. The students are bidden to turn their attention inward upon the self dwelling within each. Each student is led to see that his consciousness gives him first a report of the existence of his self. The report is, I am. This at first seems to be the final words from the consciousness, but a little further examination discloses the fact that this I am may be separated or split into two distinct parts or aspects, which, while working in unison and conjunction, yet nevertheless may be separated in consciousness. While at first there seems to be only an I existing, a more careful and closer examination reveals the fact that there exists an I and a me. These mental twins differ in their characteristics and nature. An examination of their nature and their phenomena arising from the same will throw much light upon many of the problems of mental influence. Let us begin with the consideration of the me, which usually is mistaken for the I by the student, until he presses the inquiry a little further back into the recesses of consciousness. A man thinks of his self in its aspect of me as being composed of certain feelings, tastes, likes, dislikes, habits, peculiar ties, characteristics, etc. all of which go to make up his personality or the self known to himself and others. He knows that these emotions and feelings change, are born and die away, are subject to the principle of rhythm and the principle of polarity, which take him from one extreme of feeling to another. He also thinks of the me as being certain knowledge gathered together in his mind and thus forming a part of himself. This is the me of a man. But we have proceeded too hastily. The me of many men may be said to consist largely for their consciousness of the body, of their physical appetites, etc., their consciousness being largely bound up with their bodily nature. They practically live there. Some men even go so far as to regard their personal appeal as part of their me, and actually seem to consider a part of themselves. A writer has humorously said that men consist of three parts: soul, body, and clothes. These clothes conscious people would lose their personality if divested of their clothing by savages upon the occasion of a shipwreck. But even many who are not so closely bound up with the idea of personal arraignment stick closely to the consciousness of their bodies being their me. They cannot overcome a self independent of the body. Their mind seems to them to be practically a something belonging to their body, which in many cases it is indeed. But as man rises in the scale of consciousness, he is able to disentangle his me from his idea of his body and is able to think of his body as belonging to the mental part of him. But even as he is very apt to identify the me entirely with his mental states, feelings, etc., which he feels to exist within him, he is very apt to consider these internal states as identical with himself, instead of their being simply things produced by some part of his mentality and existing within him, of him, and in him, but still not himself. He sees that he may change these internal states of feelings by all effort of will, and that he may produce a feeling or state of an exactly opposite nature in the same way, and yet the same me exists. And so after a while he is able to set aside these various mental states, emotions, feelings, habits, qualities, characteristics, and other personal mental belongings. He is able to set them aside in the not me collection of curiosities and encumbrances, as well as valuable possessions. This requires much mental concentration and power of mental analysis on the part of the student, but still the task is possible for the advanced student, and even those who are not so advanced are able to see in the imagination how the process may be performed. After this laying aside process has been performed, the student will find himself in the consciousness possession of a self which may be considered as its I and me dual aspects. The me will be felt to be something mental, in which thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings, and undermental states may be produced. It may be considered as the mental womb, as the ancients styled it, capable of generating mental offspring. It reports to the consciousness as a me with latent powers of creative and generation of mental progeny of all sorts and kinds. Its powers of creative energy are felt to be enormous, but still it seems to be conscious that if it must receive some form of energy from either its I companion or else from some other I, ere it is able to bring into being its mental creations. The consciousness brings with it a realization of an enormous capacity for mental work and creative ability. But the student soon finds that this is not at all what he finds within his inner consciousness. He finds that there exists a mental something which is able to will that the me act along certain creative lines, and which is also able to stand aside and witness the mental creation. This part of himself he is taught to call his I. He is able to rest in his consciousness at will. He finds that there is not a consciousness of an ability to generate and actively create in the sense of a gradual process attendant upon the mental operations, but rather a sense and a consciousness of an ability to project an energy from the I to the me, a process of willing that the mental creation begin and proceed. He also finds that the I is able to stand and witness the operations of the me's mental creation and generation. There is this dual aspect in the mind of every person. The I represents the masculine principle, the mental gender. The me represents the feminine principle. The I represents the aspect of being, the me, the aspect of becoming. You will notice that the principle of correspondence operates on this plane just as it does upon the great plane upon which the creation of the universe is performed. The two are similar in kind, although vastly different in degree. As above, so below. As below, so above. These aspects of mind, the masculine and the feminine principle, the I and the me, considered in the connection with the well-known mental and psychic phenomena, give the master key to these dimly known regions of mental operation and manifestation. The principle of mental gender gives the truth underlying the whole field of the phenomena and mental influence, etc. The tendency of the feminine principle is always in the direction of receiving impressions, while the tendency of the masculine principle is always in the direction of giving out or expressing. The feminine principle has much more varied field of operation than has the masculine principle. The feminine principle conducts the work of the generating new thoughts, concepts, ideas, including the work of the imagination. The masculine principle contents itself with the work of the will in its varied phases, and yet without the active aid of the will of the masculine principle, the feminine principle is apt to rest content with generating mental images which are the result of impressions received from outside, instead of producing original mental creations. Persons who can give continued attention and thought to a subject actively employ both of the mental and feminine in the work of the mental generation, and the masculine will in the stimulating and energizing the creative portion of the mind. The majority of the persons really employ the mental masculine, but little are content to live according to the thoughts and ideas instilled in the me from the I of the other minds. But it is not our purpose to dwell upon this phase of the subjects, which may be studied from any good textbook upon the psychology with the key that we have given you regarding mental gender. The student of the psychic phenomena is aware of the wonderful phenomena classified under the head of telepathy, thought transference, mental influence, suggestion, hypnotism, etc. Many have sought for an explanation of these varied phases of phenomena under the theories of the various dual mind teachers. And in a measure they are right, for there is clearly a manifestation of the two distinct phases of mental activity. But if each student will consider these dual minds in the light of Hermetic teachings regarding vibrations and mental gender, they will see that the long-sought-for key is at hand. In the phenomena of telepathy is seen how the vibratory energy of the mental masculine principle is projected towards the feminine principle of another person, and the latter takes the seed thought and allows it to develop into maturity. In the same way, suggestion and hypnotism operates. The masculine principle of the person giving the suggestions directs a stream of vibratory energy or willpower towards the feminine principle of the other person, and the latter, accepting it, makes its own and acts and thinks accordingly. An idea thus lodged in the mind of another person grows and develops, and in time is regarded as the rightful mental offspring of the individual, whereas it is in reality like the cuckoo egg placed in the sparrow's nest, where it destroys the rightful offspring and makes itself at home. The normal method is for the masculine and the feminine principle in a person's mind to coordinate and act harmoniously in conjunction with each other. But unfortunately, the masculine principle in the average person is way too lazy to act. The display of willpower is too slight, and the consequence is that such persons are ruled entirely by the minds and wills of the other persons, whom they allow to do their thinking and willing for them. How few original thoughts or original actions are performed by the average person! Are not the majority of persons mere shadows and echoes of others, having stronger wills or minds than themselves? The trouble is that the average person dwells almost together in the me consciousness and does not realize that he or she has such a thing as an I. He is powered by his feminine principle of mind, and the masculine principle in which is lodged the will is allowed to remain inactive and not employed. Strong men and women of the world invariably manifest the masculine principle of will, and their strength depends materially upon this fact. Instead of living upon the impressions made upon the minds of others, they dominate their own minds by their will, obtaining the kind of mental images desired, and moreover, dominate the minds of others likewise in the same manner. Look at the strong people, how they manage to implant their seed thoughts into the minds and the masses of the people, thus causing the latter to think thoughts in accordance with the desires and wills of the strong individuals. Why is this? This is why the masses of people are such sheep-like creatures, never originating an idea of their own, nor using their own powers of mental activity. The manifestations of mental gender may be noticed all around us in everyday life. The magnetic persons are those who are able to use the masculine principle in the way of impressing their ideas upon others. The actor who makes people weep or cry as he wills is employing this principle, and so it is the successful orator, statesman, preacher, writer, or other people who are before the public attention. The peculiar influence exerted by some people over others is due to the manifestation of mental gender along the vibrational lines above indicated. In the principle lies the secret of personal magnetism, personal influence, fascination, etc., as well as the phenomena generally grouped under the name of hypnotism. The student who has familiarized himself with the phenomena generally spoken of as psychic will have discovered the important part played in the said phenomena by the force which science has styled suggestion, but which term is meant the process or method whereby an idea is transferred to or impressed upon the mind of another, causing the second mind to act in accordance therewith. A correct understanding of the suggestion is necessary in order to intelligently comprehend the various psychical phenomena which suggestion underlies, but still there is a knowledge of vibration and mental gender necessary for the student of suggestion, for the whole principle of suggestion depends upon the principle of mental gender and vibration. It is customary for the writers and teachers of suggestion to explain that it is the objective or voluntary mind which makes the mental impression or suggestion upon the subjective or involuntary mind. But they do not describe the process or give any analogy in nature whereby we may more readily comprehend the idea. But if you will think of a matter in the light of the Hermetic teachings, you will be able to see that the energizing of the feminine principle by the vibratory energy of the masculine principle is in accordance to the universal laws of nature, and that the natural world affords countless analogies whereby the principle may be understood. In fact, the Hermetic teachings show that the very creation of the universe followed the same law, and that in the same all creative manifestations upon the planes of the spiritual, the mental, and the physical, there is always in operation this principle of gender, this manifestation of the masculine and feminine principles, as above, so below, as above, as below, so above. And more than this, when the principle of mental gender is once grasped and understood, the varied phenomena of psychology at once becomes capable of intelligent classification and study. The principle works out in practice because it is based on the innumerable universal laws of life. We shall not enter in an exhaustive discussion or description of the varied phenomena of mental influence of psychic activity. There are many books, many of them quite good, which have been written and published on this subject of late years. The main facts stated in these various books are correct, although the several writers have attempted to explain the phenomena by various pet theories of their own. The student may acquaint himself with these matters, and by using this theory of mental gender, he is able to bring order out of chaos of conflicting theory and teachings, and may moreover readily make himself a master of the subject, if he so be inclined. The purpose of this work is not to give an extended account of psychic phenomena, but rather to give a student a master key whereby he may unlock the doors leading to the parts of the temple of knowledge which he may wish to explore. We feel that in this consideration of the teachings of the Kryballion, one may feel an explanation which will serve to clear away many perplexing difficulties, a key that will unlock many doors. What is the use of going into detail regarding all of the many features of the psychic phenomena and the mental science, provided we place the hands of the student at means whereby he may acquaint himself fully regarding any phase of the subject which he may interest him. With the aid of the Kryballion, one may go through any occult library anew, the old light from the Egypt illuminating many dark pages and obscure subjects. That is the purpose of this book. We do not come expounding a new philosophy, but rather furnishing the outlines of a great world-old teaching, which will make clear the teachings of others, which will serve as a great reconciler of differing theories and opposing doctrines. So you can see this card here, which is the numerology for today, the High Priestess, fits right into what we're discussing. The idea of duality, the masculine and feminine principles. Remember I said the one splits into the two, that this is referred to as the temple of wisdom, is exactly the phrase and words that are being used here. So there's a lot of synchronicity with what's going on with the energies of the day. And as we understand this idea of duality, as we understand the idea of the difference between the I and the me, we understand in life how we are controlled, how media controls people by using certain ways to present information to people who then receive it and then take it as gospel truth without going to verify anything of themselves. All goes back to the reason why we need to learn to think for ourselves so that we are not subject to anybody else's whims or thoughts, but we can think for ourselves and use our own sense of discernment, the gifts that we are given by the Holy Spirit. Okay, that is the Kryballion teaching for today. And that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath. And exhale. And take another deep breath. And exhale again. Keep breathing slowly in and out and contemplate the words of this affirmation. I'm filled with good luck. Good luck flows into me like the river into the ocean. And just imagine this ocean of energy, these rivers of energy flowing through you. Energies of good vibrations, good luck, positivity. And as they flow through your body, imagine all of the other positive elements and aspects of yourself being activated. Take some time now to contemplate the ideas of the masculine and feminine principles. Not as the male and the female, but as the masculine and feminine poles of energy. One gives, one receives. And as we go through life, we understand how on a daily basis we are acting as both the masculine side of the energy and the feminine, as we give and as we receive. And as such, we see how we are able to affect life by acting from the masculine principle and sending out energy that others may receive. So we imagine ourselves going into the world, sending out this love, this positivity. And then we imagine ourselves receiving this positivity because we are both senders and receivers. And if we put ourselves in the position of both, of all, and realize that we are part of the all, then this energy that is being sent and received is all part of the nature of who we are and what we're about. So imagine sending this energy into the world, this positivity, this love, and just seeing the world respond as it receives this energy. See the leaders around this world, see them drop to their knees in fear for their own mental problems that they've created. And out of that fear, we see them change and change their ways. To see all of our leaders around this world come to understanding the errors of their ways and greediness, and let them all come correct to the ways of truthfulness. And if they cannot come to the ways of truthfulness, then let them all understand that they simply are to pass away from our reality because they are no longer part of the solution. And so as we eliminate from our consciousness those who are not willing to participate in the love and the positivity, we find ourselves moving forward into a realm where positivity and love strengthens and gathers momentum. And we imagine this world splitting into two realities. One reality, the physical reality, continues on with all of those who do not wish to change. And one reality is those who do wish to change. And we see a division, the separating of the wheat from the chaff. And there is one world filled with goodness and love and positivity and making great strides in the universe. And there is another civilization, warlike, hateful, filled with doubt and negativity. And they go off in their own separate way to their own devices. Whereas the goodness continues on. And the positivity continues on. And all we need to do is keep sharing this with each other. So just imagine as you go through the day, sending out love and positivity into the world. Just sending it out, letting that be enough. So as you imagine yourself in the world, sending out love and positivity, let your unconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring our conscious attention back to the present moment. 3, coming back to the moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. And that's it, my friends. That's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to wrap up the Kryballion. Just have a great day today. Consider all that we've learned through this process of the Kryballion and the teachings of it. Go back and review the book. Review the 7 principles. And the more you do, I guarantee you, the more you're going to find and understand how these energies work in your life each and every day. And the more you understand them, the more efficient you'll be able to be in life for yourself and for those around you. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information and all kind of other good stuff. Have an awesome day. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.